Hello, in this video I'm going to do a peace sign. I've got two examples on the screen here. This is just really to kind of show the basic process that I'm going to go through. So first of all, I've got one which is just strokes. So this is when I start by building it out of a circle and some lines, and then we're also going to convert it into a filled object so that we can also go over adding some rounded corners on the inside of this area. So to begin with, we're going to start by choosing the ellipse tool, and we're going to drag out to create a circle, and then we're going to switch this to a stroke. I want to have no fill, just the stroke, and then I'm going to increase the size, something like that. Next I'm going to choose the line segment tool, and I'm going to draw a line. I have smart guides on. Notice that when I put my cursor over an anchor point, it tells me when I'm on the anchor point. And it also creates these guides so that as I drag down, it kind of snaps to a straight line and so on. This is under View, Smart Guides. So make sure that Smart Guides are on. And we're going to start at the top on this anchor point and drag down to the anchor point at the bottom. The next thing we want to do is, staying on the line segment tool, I'm going to start in the middle of the circle. And again, because I have Smart Guides on, when I'm in the center, it'll say intersect. I'm going to go from that point. I just missed it. And I'm going to drag across to the edge here. As I drag across, I'm also going to hold shift, so this keeps it at an exact 45-degree angle. Once I have this one, obviously I could also do the same thing on the other side, but whilst we're at it, let's take a look at how we can reflect an object. So I'm going to go to the reflect tool. This may be hidden with the rotate tool. I'm going to hold Option on my keyboard, Alt if you're on a PC, and I'm going to click on this central line right here, or on that anchor point, anywhere in this vertical line. So click right there, set it to vertical, and then hit copy. So if we look at this in outline mode, right now these are just strokes. The stroke is actually an appearance, it's just a series of paths. And the next step that we're going to do to get to this finish point where we have these curved edges is we're going to select these and go to Object and then go down to Expand. You could also choose Path, Outline Stroke, and we'll end up with filled objects rather than the strokes now. So if we look at it in outline mode right now, it looks like this. So that we can manipulate it as one shape, we need to also unite these objects. So we're going to go to Pathfinder, then choose Unite right here, the very first one on the Shape Modes row. Click onto that. So this is now just one complete shape. If I look at it in outline mode, Command Y, there you can see we've got to this point. There is another reason to get rid of the strokes. If you're working with logos or symbols, things like this, where the graphic is going to be handed around to other people, it might be a good idea to get rid of the strokes, because there is a weird feature in Illustrator when, well, it's not really a weird feature, but there's a feature which a lot of people are not aware of if they're not very familiar with the program, where if you select the object and say scale this, but I don't have scale, stroke and effects on, let's say I scale this by 30%. The stroke is then going to stay the same size, and so the graphic kind of visually changes because the stroke is staying the same as the object is scaling smaller. If on the other hand you double click on here and set it to scale, stroke and effects, and then change it so that I'm scaling it smaller, then the whole thing scales proportionally. But there is a bit of a danger that if you leave strokes in your design, then if the design is going to be used by other people who are not so familiar with the program, they might forget about that, and even if they're just scaling a little bit, it does distort the overall design that you originally set up. So making it into a fill means that you don't have to worry about that part of it, that aspect of it. Alright, so now we've got to this point, we've got this as a fill. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. Using the direct selection tool, so this is hidden with the group selection tool, you hold down on the group selection tool, find the direct selection tool. We're then going to select over points like this. So I'm going to hold shift to add to this selection. So I've selected these two now. Then I'm going to select this one right here. I'm also going to select this one, this one. So basically all the ones on the inside of the shape that are on the outside, if that makes any sense. So not these ones in the inside, and none of the ones on the outside circle, just the ones around this perimeter here, but also not the ones on the outside there. Just the ones in the corners. And you'll notice that when you do that, that you've got these little circles that show up in the corners, which is for adjusting the corner point. If I drag that, you'll notice that it then creates these rounded corners. I'm going to set this to around about 4. So I can do this at the top numerically. And now we've got our finished logo or our finished symbol. Peace out. Thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.